Russian is tough. There's no getting around that. But there's a simple thing you can do to make learning Russian much easier in 2025. And I want to share it with you today. Before I tell you what it is, let me say that this is the exact method I teach in my course Russian Conversations Unlocked. And it's helped hundreds of students make real progress in Russian. Let me explain. The biggest mistake I see people make is trying to do too many things at once. They're juggling textbooks, apps, tutors, YouTube videos, and trying to memorize cases, and they end up feeling overwhelmed. Instead, there's something else that you can start doing right now, even with a busy schedule. Think about your typical day. You probably spend time commuting to work, taking a walk, maybe with your dog, or going to the gym and working out, right? Those are perfect opportunities to learn Russian through audio lessons. And it's just amazing how much that time we actually have during the day that we could transform into productive learning time. Let me give you a specific example from my own life. I remember when I started working full-time, I suddenly found myself with barely any time left to learn Russian. But I had a 20-minute commute each way. So I started listening to audio lessons during my commute, and that added about 3 hours a week of practice to my schedule, which turned out to be incredibly useful because the next time I went to Russia, I noticed that my speaking skills had just gotten much, much better. And I wasn't doing anything fancy. I was just consistently listening and practicing during time I would have otherwise just spent listening to music or podcasts. Now, what makes audio lessons particularly effective? First, you're picking up new vocabulary in context. Second, you're learning grammar rules through practical examples. Third, you hear proper Russian pronunciation, which helps you speak better yourself as well. And fourth, good audio lessons incorporate speaking prompts so you can practice forming sentences yourself. Speaking of the last one, these practical speaking prompts are absolutely crucial. When you're listening to an audio lesson, you should be getting opportunities to think and respond out loud. Even if you're in public and cannot speak out loud, just responding mentally still helps you develop your sentence creation skills. So here's what I recommend for making the most out of audio lessons. First, choose a regular time in your day for listening. Second, don't try to multitask too much. Walking or commuting is fine, but just don't try to write emails at the same time. 3, always repeat phrases out loud when you can. And 4th, don't worry about understanding everything perfectly the first time. So one interesting thing I've noticed with my students is that those who incorporate audio lessons into their daily routine often progress faster than those who only study with textbooks. Why? Because they're getting consistent exposure to the language in a way that fits naturally into their lives. The key is to make this a consistent habit, because it's much better to listen for 15 minutes every day during your commute than it is to try cramming 2 hours once a week. Your brain needs regular exposure to process and retain the language effectively. And I've seen this method work for hundreds of students, from busy professionals to parents with packed schedules, and from students to retirees. They all found success by turning their dead time into learning time with audio lessons. And this is exactly why I created Russian Conversations Unlocked. It takes everything we've talked about, vocabulary, grammar, listening practice, and speaking prompts, and packages it into audio lessons that you can use anywhere. The course is designed to help you develop an instinct for speaking Russian naturally without having to think about every word. And if you want to make 2025 the year in which you finally learn Russian, check the link in the description.